Well, the end of President Yahya Jammeh's more than 22 decades rule seems nearer than expected, with second round of results showing opposition candidate Adama Barrow in the lead.
Indeed. Well, the first round was claimed by President Jammeh in just 2 constituencies, with all observers and polling agents on ground keenly noting the counting to avoid any electoral malpractice. Restriction on communication and movement started yesterday. Many believe it's part of the state's ploy to rig the outcome.
The internet services, anyway, I don't know why they have to block the internet, because of so many people are surviving through this internet service. So, to my own idea, they should not block the internet. They should bring the internet for the people, because some people they are living through these internet services. So for my brothers and sisters, those who were saying different things, this country is blessed. Nothing is going to happen in this country. Let everybody stay in peace.
All right, still on the Gambian vote count now, African Affairs analyst Jendele Hungo joins us now via Skype to share his thoughts on this. Thank you for joining us, Jendele. How do you react now as early figures say Adama Barrow is in the lead? Put this in context with what a cross-section of Gambians are saying, that there is no way President Jammeh could win this election.
Yeah, if you look at popular feelings on the streets, it appears as if people in Gambia generally seem to be fed up with Yahya Jammeh. But it's still a little bit too early to call when we talk about the results generally. I think what brought the celebrations on the street, with the so-called victory celebrations at the moment, is the fact that Yahya Jammeh lost in the capital. He lost in that province, and because that's also a constituency where the number of votes is very huge. There's a very high voting population made up of youth, younger people who seem to have preferred the opposition, Adama Barrow. Now, but beyond that, we should be careful about these celebrations at the moment, because you never can tell. If things turn around to be otherwise than what people are expecting, there might be a lot of issues yet to be decided in that election. But generally, from the reaction of the people, and also from the mileage that the opposition has made this time around, and also from the fact that the opposition groups decided to come together to form a kind of a coalition to fight this election battle, it's very clear that if it doesn't happen immediately now, Yahya Jammeh is already near the end of his tenure.
Indeed, and that was what I was about to ask you about, the coalition of opposition parties in that country, and for them to be able to pull this weight so far in the election, though the final result has not been announced yet. Now, I want us to look at the unique voting system adopted by Gambia, which basically seems to be the only country using this kind of system. But so far, according to people, it's quite effective.
Yeah, it's in a way, you will use that kind of voting system in a place where there's an assumption, or where it's clear that the voting population is not completely literate. When you find difficulty in voter education to make them come to scratch with what they are expected to do on election day, or in people taking decisions. But I think, to me, I don't see it as a very I don't think it's the kind of thing we should be doing at this point. It says a lot about the level of development in the Gambia. It also says a lot about Yahya Jammeh himself. You see, I want to assume that this is also part of his anti-West rhetoric. We don't want to do it the way everyone else does it. We want to do it in this particular way. But again, it might also be one of the things that will cause Yahya Jammeh and his political party to lose the election, because it makes it easier for people to also say or to also choose the person they want to choose. It also makes it easier when it comes to the counting of the votes, because the odds are already weighed clearly against whoever is going to win or whoever is going to lose the election.
And of course, let's also talk about the impact of this election now. If Barrow wins on the electorate, I mean, does it go without saying that a Barrow presidency will automatically end the woes of the people at this time?
Well, that cannot be a guarantee. And I think that is one thing we need to begin to realize in Africa. When elections are fought, people fight elections with all kinds of promises. They fight elections saying very bad things about the incumbents or saying very bad things about whoever is opposing them. When the incumbent is not able to, even the incumbent will make his own promises or her own promises, but the expectations of the people when it comes to electoral promises in Africa seem to be extremely way far too beyond what even the system can offer. Before you set your expectations, your post-election expectations, we need to get to a stage when in Africa we need to look at what are the resources of the country, what is possible, what is the situation on ground, how long is it going to take to make things better than what we already have. And I think that is if Barrow wins at the end of the day, that is one major challenge that Gambians are going to face. From where are they going to begin? Is it the institutions? Is it the electoral system itself that has been? Is it that they need to go back to the constitution? Because don't forget that Yahya Jammeh, in the course of perpetuating himself in office, has amended the constitution to remove term limits in Gambia. Do you want to keep the constitution as it is? Do you need to go back to the drawing board to re-amend this time around the constitution again to put term limits on presidency or term limits on electoral processes in the country? Another thing we also have to be to deal with the extreme poverty that has bedeviled the Gambia since Yahya Jammeh held sway. I think one thing that has kept him in office so far is his anti-West rhetoric. His what he calls Islamic tenets, which have also been challenged in several other religious quarters and so on. So we need to bring all this. We need to factor all this in when we begin to talk about the expectations of the people after Yahya Jammeh.
And still staying on the premise of a possible Barrow victory, do you foresee Yahya Jammeh leaving office quietly?
I do not foresee him leaving office quietly. I must be very frank with you. If he does leave office quietly, that would be a very big surprise. But I also think that the odds are weighed seriously against him. The factor of ECOWAS is there. Don't also forget that Yahya Jammeh prevented European observers and even ECOWAS observers from observing the elections because he's not sure. He's scared of ECOWAS because of the role ECOWAS has played in the democratization processes in several other what you can call smaller West African countries. And so he seems not to be too much attuned to external influences. But one of the things that might make him leave office eventually might also be these external influences that he's not sure of. He doesn't enjoy the confidence of the leadership of ECOWAS at the moment. And so, but that he will easily accept. If he does accept easily, then that's also another surprise coming in West Africa.
We might also talk about, expectations from observers who say the world needs to do more. I mean, look at all the amount of atrocities that have been recorded in Gambia alone, on journalists, on activists, on opposition, and yet not much has been done in rectifying the wrong or in putting pressure on the government. Now, just how much do you want the world now to do when it concerns the affairs of Gambians?
Yeah, Gambia is going to be a very difficult place to deal with. Don't forget that we're talking about a country of a population of around 1.9 million, which is I mean, very small, with a very large, with a very, very serious poverty level in that country. If you want to impose sanctions on Gambia, for example, where do you start from? What kind of sanctions do you want to impose? This kind of things need to be done very carefully, such that you don't, in the course of claiming to help the people of Gambia, further impoverish them. It's going to be very difficult to single out the leaders of the country, including Yahya Jammeh, who's the president who might leave office anytime. Now, but if you are not able to single them out to make sure that you target whatever sanctions or whatever pressure you want to put on them to be pressure that will affect them directly, then you'll just be making the people suffer for nothing. People like Yahya Jammeh and such leaders who perpetuate themselves in office have become kleptomaniacs who have taken a lot of the resources of the countries they rule, with which they can take care of themselves and their families when sanctions come. And so globally, sanctions are also being reviewed. People are looking at them critically. Are they very efficient? Do they work very well? But I know that it's not faced with a lot of international organizations, especially considering the fact that he's one of the countries that have been trying to pull out of the ICC. So, I mean, it's going to have international NGOs, international bodies, agencies, kind of trying to see what they can do to make sure that he does not continue in office. That is, if he loses the election.
Jandele Humbo, thank you for your analysis on the presidential election in Gambia, where, of course, we are hearing that international media organizations are already reporting that President Jammeh could address the nation and for a possible conceding to the opposition. Well, let's see how that plays out. Stay with us on TVC News Hour. We'll go on a short break and return in a moment with more stories.